Hey guys, welcome to F1 Podcast. As always, you're joined by Pep and Max. Who else would there be, Max? It's always you and I.
Yeah, it is you.
We don't even have a third person or anything like that, do we?
Definitely not.
Guys, it's been a few weeks since our last podcast, and I think we said in our last video that we're not going to be able to do podcasts as regularly as what we did previously, mate. We'd love to do race reviews every single time, mate, but we're just not able to do it at the moment.
Unfortunately not, no.
So we've had China, we've had Le Turcs, Sebastian Vettel has been dominating F1. Max, what's your thoughts, first of all, on that little situation?
I think he's come out firing this year. There's no doubt about it. He's driving very well. He's qualified on pole and you know the most number of times. Therefore,
yeah.
He set himself up for the most number of victories.
And that Red Bull car is just unbeatable. It always seems to be like a battle for third place during most qualifying sessions. Everyone knows that Red Bull car's a bullet, Max.
And it's interesting that they've had a lot of problems with curves. Yet the outright speed or outright pace of the car has got them over the line on a number of times. So you know, kudos to Adrian Newey and the design guys at Red Bull. They're forging ahead. And hopefully we can see their KERS system working this weekend. I guess that remains to be seen.
Yeah, mate, I remember saying in our last podcast, which was a while ago now, that I wanted things to be shaken up a little bit, and still I'm thinking the same thing. You know, a couple of weeks later I'm still thinking, well, I'd like other drivers to win Grand Prix. So we'll just have to see, mate.
It was good to see Lewis Hamilton winning a race.
Yeah, exactly, and we've had lots of passing, particularly at Turkey 2 weeks ago. We had lots of passing there, and I guess that brings us nicely to this DRS situation, Max. We've got this drag reduction system happening for part of the lap, and then in a few Grand Prix time in Canada and in Valencia, we're going to have it twice per lap. Yeah. So they're increasing the DRS, and well, let's start talking about DRS a little bit, mate.
Button doesn't like it.
No, he feels like he's a sitting duck, and I think he said this is not racing. I already made a comment on the channel saying that I found it to be a big yawn, which to me it basically means that when these passes happen, it doesn't give me any excitement at all. I'm just watching the race. Someone overtakes, and I think, oh yeah, so what? He pushed a button. There was no skill in that, and I'm really been disappointed, mate. I know a lot of people like seeing lots of overtaking, and they say, oh, there's plenty of overtaking. To me, it's boring.
Coulthard basically has an orgasm every time someone passes using DRS.
Yeah, he does. He likes it, doesn't he?
He loves it. He's mental for it. I don't think there's too much skill involved in pushing a button, quite frankly. Some of you guys might disagree. That's your prerogative. I was talking to Pep off camera before, and I said if we need to, keep DRS in Formula One, at this stage it looks as though that's going to be the case. I think that one of the things that, just as a possibility, and I'd love to hear your guys' views, something that I came up with this morning is, in the DRS zone, as we know, in normal Formula One racing, prior to DRS, you were allowed to move once to cover your position. I think with the DRS zone, because we saw in Turkey in particular just how easy it was to pass, I'd like to see introduced just in the DRS zone,
prior to the braking
zone, of course, you being able to move twice to cover your position. So jink once right and then once left, perhaps
to cover yourself,
and then that's it. But just through the DRS zone prior to the braking zone, because otherwise it's just a procession. Like, I've got you in my sights. Yes, okay. Admittedly, you have to drive quickly enough to get within 1 second of the person ahead of you.
Yeah.
But it just seems to me that as soon as you've achieved that, then it's, okay, I've done my work, now I'm just going to hit a button, and invariably, most of the time I'm going to pass you within the next lap or so.
Mate, not so much in Shanghai, but time after time in Turkey, cars would go sailing past, they'd be back onto the racing line way before the braking zone, and I just found myself feeling cold and uninterested. I didn't feel like there was any skill. And it didn't do it for me, mate. I really didn't enjoy it at all. And I started thinking about tactics, like if you had a few laps to go before the end of the Grand Prix, and you're within 1 second of someone, then maybe you just stay within that
You'd hold
1
off,
second.
wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then on the last lap, zoom, hit the button, and there you go. You've got him, because the next lap he's not going to get you, because that's the slowdown lap. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
you know, it just doesn't really do it for me. I understand why a lot of newer fans might like it or whatever, but even for you guys who are like old school fans who have been watching F1 forever, tell us if you like it. Is this something that you enjoy about Formula One? Because it's certainly not. I'm not a fan, mate. I could go on and on. I could use a few swear words as well, but I'm going to button my lip. I just don't like it, mate. It's
fair enough. But I understand some of you guys could like it. So if you do like it, shoot us your comments. If you don't like it, shoot us your comments. Either way, you're entitled to your opinion as much as we are. But you all know our thoughts on DRS from our previous podcast, so we'll probably put that one to bed for a while.
Yeah, so Max and I were sitting down 10 minutes ago and talking about sort of what's been happening in Formula One over the last 3-4 weeks, and both on track and off track. And besides the fact that Adrian Still got a bit happy at a nightclub, mate, really one of the biggest stories has been Formula One for sale, perhaps, or not. Certainly News Corporation, Rupert Murdoch has put in a friendly bid, Max. It's friendly.
Nothing he does is friendly, mate. Nothing.
And, Ferrari talking about a breakaway series again.
Montezomolo every year comes out with we could start our own series.
Yeah, exactly.
End of Concord Agreement. Thank you. If we don't get what we want, we're out. Oh, yeah, righto. Okay.
So, Max, I got to say, one thing that I agree that Bernie has done over the years is that he wants to make Formula One free, always on free to air, so it doesn't matter which country he does a deal with. Yep. It's free to air, and I agree with that. If you start isolating people and saying you have to buy some Foxtel or some pay TV service to watch Formula One, I disagree totally, and I think that's what Rupert Murdoch and News Corp might be thinking, and I think if they do that, it will be an absolute disaster. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for changes in Formula One and making things, improving the show, but make it free.
It has to be free. It has to be free. You look at NASCAR, for example. Those guys, to me, it's an inferior form of motorsport compared to Formula One, and I will never have any other opinion other than that. However, these guys are very inclusive with their fans. You can go up and meet the drivers and walk in and out of the teams.
Yeah.
And Formula One, you're at arm's length. Okay, the Formula One guys don't engage the fans as well as what they can. And if you want to alienate your fans even more, you'll make them pay for your product.
Yeah.
And if Murdoch gets his grubby hands on Formula One, I'd like to think he won't. But if he did, you can trust me, you guys would all be paying, as would Pep and I through the hip pocket.
Yeah.
We don't have the luxury. I don't think Formula One has the luxury of alienating their fans even more than what they already do at the moment. So that would be a step in the wrong direction. However, at the end of the day, we're talking about serious players, serious business people here. So it remains to be seen what will happen. But I believe that Formula One must be shown on free-to-air TV. It simply has to be.
I agree, mate, and I'm not surprised at all that News Corp has had this play at Formula One. I think Formula One's the best sport in the world. It's a truly global sport, and why wouldn't you want to have a slice of it or have a go at it? And you've got basically CVC, private equity guys who own it, and you could own part of it.
Yeah.
And these people can be bought. You can convince,
everyone has a price, mate.
Exactly. You can convince them if they had, let's say, a 10-year plan for Formula One. You could say, "Oh, sell now." We'll take the money now, and I think there's a lot of things that can improve with Formula One, and maybe we'll talk about that in future podcasts. But basically, a lot of they're not embracing the internet or the new media so much, and they need to do more with creating an excitement around the races, that they could, different camera angles and stuff like that. But I think that Bernie needs to heed the fact that people are nipping at his heels, and that maybe he doesn't have control over this as much. When you've got business partners, they could sell out and they could leave him high and dry. So, I don't think that Rupert Murdoch's going to get Formula One, but it's certainly been an interesting story, mate.
Sure has.
Yeah.